I'm going to go ahead and call to order the August meeting of the Bloomington Board of Park Commissioners via Zoom. And Les Coyne is out of town, but we do have a quorum of the other three members here today. So thanks to Kim Clapp, we've had all the portions of the consent calendar for a few days now to look over. So this is approval. We'll be approving the minutes from the last meeting, the claims submitted, the non-reverting budget amendments, business report, and then some surplus that's being dispensed with. So do we have a motion to pass the consent calendar?
Yeah, a motion to pass the consent calendar.
Okay, and in a second. Okay, great. Thank you, Israel. And all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Motion carried. So then into section B, our public hearings and appearances. If we have any public comment, it can be directed to the chat on the meeting or Facebook Live or Paula McDevitt, Parks Administrator's email. So we'll just pause here and see if we have any public comment in this period.
If any of the public would like to make a comment on Zoom, if you would raise your hand or send me something in chat, and I'll be happy to unmute you.
Okay, all right. It sounds like perhaps we don't have any public comment for section B, so we will move into other business today. So first off, the very important review of the 2021 Parks General Fund budget, which Paula McDevitt will tell us about.
All right, very good. I'm going to take a few, hopefully just seconds here to share my screen. And okay. And I know I can count on all of you to let me know if for some reason when I get started, my slides are not advancing. So thank you, Kathleen. And unbelievably, it's this time of year where we are getting ready to present our 2021 budget. And as tradition has it, I present the general fund budget request to the Board of Park Commissioners in preview of my presentation to the City Council. And just a reminder, our presentation is tomorrow evening. And when I get that Zoom meeting link, I will send it to the Park Board members, and you're more than welcome to log on and follow along. And let me know if you plan to do that so I can be sure to introduce you. But what I will be doing this evening is taking you through my presentation that includes a lot of background on the department and a little look at our 2020 goals, where we stand today, and then our plans for 2021, and then our overall general fund budget request. And we are seeking the review and approval. The process then I will present to City Council tomorrow evening, will be passed in its final stages in October. So this is just the kickoff and the start, but I want to share this report with you this evening. So again, I'm Paula McDevitt, Director of the Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department, and I'm here this afternoon to present the 2021 Parks and Recreation General Fund 2021 budget request. The Parks and Recreation Department strives to provide the highest quality parks and recreation services and green space to enhance the quality of life in our community. We maintain over 2,300 acres of property, playing fields, courts, golf course, an ice arena, 38 miles of trail, 28 parks, 2 pools, a brand new spray pad, and 3 community centers. And we are supported by the Bloomington Parks Foundation Scholarship Program, who in 2019 awarded over $12,000 in program scholarships to 82 children. The programs and services and assets are managed by 53 dedicated and talented full-time employees. These employees are able to accomplish the department goals with the support of 53 full-time equivalent seasonal employees, which in 2019 were equaled 454 individuals. The parks is divided into 4 divisions: administration, operations, recreation, and sports. Our major initiatives include recreation sports programs and events, natural resources management and sustainability initiatives, asset management, health and well-being, equity and access to parks, programs and facilities, general obligation park bond projects, and Bicentennial Bond funded trails, gateways, and tree planting. We are able to accomplish these major initiatives with over 152 contracts and service agreements and 32 community partnership agreements. The department was recognized by the National Recreation and Park Association as a 2018 Gold Medal Award recipient for excellence in the field of parks and recreation management. And in addition, the department has been accredited by NRPA since 2001 and has maintained accreditation status every 5 years since then. The department is one of 166 accredited departments nationally, and we are currently preparing for re-accreditation in 2021. The department's national accreditation through NRPA also requires a master plan, and the 5-year master plan shapes the goals and priorities of the department to match community interest. The current master plan covers 2016 through 2020. So currently underway with Troyer Group Consultants, our next master planning process has begun. The next master plan will involve a community interest survey, the stakeholder and public input meetings, an analysis of maintenance, recreation, sports administration delivery system, the master plan document, and then finally a strategic action plan for programs and operations, park facility, capital improvements, and equipment to guide us over the next 5 years. COVID-19 impact on parks and recreation. So since 2008, the Parks and Recreation Department has emphasized the role Parks and Recreation has in public health. And while this has been our practice, COVID-19 has elevated our resources and responses to meet this public health crisis. Our local parks, trails, and open green spaces have always served as places where people find respite, seek peace, and can be physically active. And during this time of COVID-19 uncertainty, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has identified mental health as a top concern during high crises and anxiety-producing global public health emergencies. The Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department resources are needed now more than ever. We believe that parks, trails, and open spaces can continue to be used in a safe manner that allows people to enjoy the mental and physical health benefits these spaces provide. The impact of COVID-19 on the Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department has resulted in over 120 program, event, league, and volunteer opportunities being canceled. And in response, program staff have produced over 60 virtual programs, while our operations staff have safely opened outdoor spaces per health orders and protocols. Park staff have been incredible in their abilities to react, plan, and facilitate COVID-19 health orders to keep our community safe. Staff never stopped their work, but responded to meet community needs, whether it was opening a facility for fabric mask making, delivering over 11,000 meals to children during the summer months, or providing childcare safely and maintaining parks trails from record numbers of visitors seeking outdoor spaces. These efforts have been unfolding since March and continue today and for the foreseeable future, as we recognize and facilitate the responsibility we have as a department to the Bloomington community. Through this, we have realized a program revenue impact, and to date, our general fund program revenue is down 32.45%, and our non-reverting program revenue is down 48%. The department's non-reverting fund was created to serve as an enterprise fund, allowing maximum flexibility for the department to offer services in response to trends and customer demand while minimizing reliance on the general fund tax base. As you know, and our 2 new members will experience, the Board of Park Commissioners reviews and approves the annual non-reverting budget, and this will be presented to you this fall. The Board of Park Commissioners and staff annually review and recommend and approve program fees based on a pricing pyramid and cost recovery goals for each program area. The lower the cost recovery goal, the more reliance is placed on the general fund. The higher the cost recovery goal, less reliance is placed on the general fund as the program fees fund the program. So for example, Banneker Community Center, which has a high community benefit, has a low cost recovery goal of 20%, which accounts for their reliance on the general fund to operate the facility and run the program. But on the opposite end, or at the top of the pyramid, Golf Services has a highly individual benefit and therefore has a cost recovery goal of 85%. Fees charged at the golf course produce revenue projected in 2021 to be $725,000, which will allow us to break even plus or minus, and of course is very weather dependent. The Twin Lakes Recreation Center was purchased using a revenue bond in May 2009, and the results of a citizen survey and a survey of 50-plus-year-old citizens indicated a need for an indoor health and wellness, sport, and recreation space. TLRC offers customer engagement with customer service-friendly staff, an ability to adapt for a wide range of activities with movable court dividers that creates an expansive area for sports, competition, special events, or expo space, and a variety of insurance-based membership and programming targeting seniors, which has elevated the total number of senior citizen members to 500. Sustainability and climate change practices can be seen throughout the operations, sports, and recreation divisions, and probably most noticeable are the solar panels installed at 6 park sites and at 6 facilities. For example, at the Switchyard Park Pavilion, we are using the solar edge monitoring to measure the environmental benefits of the solar panels at this location. And in addition, Parks Department staff, including our city landscaper, our urban forester, natural resources coordinator and manager, the health and wellness coordinator, Banneker Community Center coordinator, and our landscaping foreperson are the Parks Climate and Sustainability Action Team members who work collaboratively with ESD's Assistant Director of Sustainability, representing the work Parks does with addressing climate change and sustainability. And this slide outlines the several areas in which this work is done. This solar panel graph indicates the energy savings since the installation of solar panels at park and facility sites. Total savings in 2018 was a little over $30,000, and total savings in 2019 just over $44,000. Trails, and more trails. Our 2015 Citizen Interest Survey indicated the community support for established trails and their request for more trails. This map illustrates the progress we've made in connecting our trail system. And while we don't count the number of users on our trails, we know by overflowing trailhead parking lots and the increased emphasis on biking and walking, and now most recently people seeking outdoor spaces because of COVID, our trails are the backbone to our park system. Which brings us to Switchyard Park. The Switchyard Park Master Plan Vision Statement reads, to boldly transform an industrial legacy site into a signature urban park through innovative design, forward thinking, and restorative environmental strategies. It's a park that recalls the site's unique history and identity, reconnects the city, inspires social interaction and civic celebration, and catalyzes future development of the surrounding communities. In summary, this park has something for everyone. We were excited to begin construction in May of 2017, and in November of 2019, we held a park reveal celebration. We're in the final stages of completion with punch list items remaining. So a fall park dedication event will be announced soon. And the department maintains a 5-year capital improvement project list. And while securing general fund capital improvement funding can be challenging from year to year, the Parks Board Commission has the ability every 16 years to approve the sale of general obligation park bonds. So back in 2016, the Board of Park Commissioners issued park district bonds to complete several significant capital improvement projects. And beginning in 2017 to 2016, we have $6.9 million to complete significant capital improvement projects. Over 20 park locations, facilities have been benefited from capital improvement projects, with the list shown as the most recently completed project. This drone footage of Waldron Hill Buskirk was completed earlier this year with new pavers in front of the stage, sidewalks, lighting, and landscaping. In 2018, in celebration of Bloomington's bicentennial, a $10 million bicentennial bond was approved by the Board of Park Commissioners and City Council as an investment in our community's future generations. Gateway projects, the Duke Energy Trail, which is under contract for design. The Griffey Loop Trail is also under design and working closely with CDU. Contracted tree plantings, which we are using identified available tree plots from our 2019 tree inventory. And the Lower Cascades Park Trail Road Conversion Pilot Project is currently underway. I'm just going to spend a few minutes reviewing where we are in the 2020 budget goals. So as I mentioned in administration, the master planning process is currently underway. On August 10th, 5,000 Random City residents received a postcard mailing with a URL to take them to our online survey. And as of yesterday, we already have 130 surveys completed. So we're quite pleased with that response, and the survey will be open until September 18th. In community relations, our social media team with representatives from each division are coordinating both Facebook and Instagram posts, and during COVID-19 time, have been spending time posting virtual programs. Highlights are here from the operations division, and of course, this time of year, landscaping installations of native plants are visible throughout the community. And so far in 2020, a little over 6,000 seedlings and shrubs have been planted as part of a major reforestation project, with more to come this fall. And in the recreation division, we have several goals listed, but most noteworthy is in community garden area, where they have a goal of renting 30 out of 39 community garden beds at Switchyard Park. And I'm pleased to say that all of those garden beds were rented with a waiting list. And if you've been down there, it's quite a sight. They're just beautiful. In the sports division, youth sports had 3 tournaments scheduled, but only held 1 due to COVID. And currently has 4 outside groups renting outdoor youth facility field space. And now turning to our 2021 budget goals, beginning with administration. In the memo that was in your packet, there are many more goals listed for all of these divisions, but obviously in a slide presentation, I can't list them all. So I will just briefly highlight goals for each area, but know that your memo contains much more information. So starting off with administration, in 2021, we will apply and successfully complete the department's re-accreditation to assure professional delivery of programs and services to the community. In the community relations area, they will increase the number of Facebook followers to 10,000, and the social media team will continue to post and engage the community in virtual programs, program announcements, and pop-up programming. In the operations division, we'll start with parks, facility, and trail maintenance. They will continue to respond and maintain the $84 million in assets that the department is responsible for. These repairs come by way of work orders over 60, and sometimes it's way over 60 work orders that are generated by all of our divisions. And we're also fortunate in the operations division to have several staff members who are able to manage in-house projects, which is a cost saving versus having to contract the work out. In landscaping, they will be working on a 5-acre expansion of the goat Farm Prairie project. We currently have half of that area planted, and this again is drone footage to show you what it looks like today. And they will also increase community engagement by providing 500 volunteer opportunities at natural spaces on first Saturdays. And that is in partnership with the Monroe County Identify and Reduce Invasive Species Group. Wonderful partnership. In the urban forest area, their goal is to plant 500 trees with 50% near high priority planting area, again, as identified in the 2019 Urban Forestry Inventory. And in natural resources, we are especially excited about our newly signed contract with Outer Spatial, and they will be designing a trail map app specific to Bloomington parks to help share recreation information with the public. The goal is to connect and engage with more park users using innovative mobile technology. And in cemeteries, they will repair 50 monuments at Rose Hill and White Oak Cemetery and install 13 custom section markers in Rose Hill Cemetery. Moving into the Recreation Division, we'll start with Banneker Community Center, who will continue the development of the Cultural Hub initiative by securing 3 partnerships with community organizations. And this initiative will now include the nutrition component, thanks to the $85,000 two-year grant awarded to Banneker by NRPA and Walmart. And as you recall, this grant was awarded to only 15 departments nationally, of which we were one. In the community events area, our 2015 citizen survey and the most recent city survey, our community told us that they love our community events and they want more. So to that end, we will hold a minimum of 6 concerts at Switchyard Park. Speaking of Switchyard Park, the opening, despite COVID-19 challenges, the staff are ready to program and welcome visitors near and far to help facilitate rentals in the pavilion. They will create a pavilion walkthrough video and also activate Switchyard Park for new and existing events. The inclusive rec area will serve the department in its entirety through ADA consultation and promote year-round inclusion through social media, inclusive brochure distribution, and outreach to disability-focused agencies. And in health and wellness, a partnership agreement with IU ROTC has helped increase participation in the annual Veterans Day run. So in 2021, the goal is to have 85 participants in this popular event. And in the Allison Jukebox Youth Services area, we will be planning for the 27th year of Kids City. And while this year was very challenging due to COVID, they planned 3 after-hours activities to extend the successful daytime program for Kids City camp participants. Moving to the sports division, the brand new clubhouse at Cascades Golf Course has yet to hit its full rental capacity due to COVID. However, in 2021, we plan to rent the clubhouse for 25 private rentals and increase the number of 18-hole rounds to over 22,000. And at Frank Southern Center, public skating sessions are very popular, along with the Learn to Skate and Hockey Initiation program. So in 2021, we will increase the public session attendance to 14,000. And at pools and aquatics, we will be most anxious to open the pools in 2021, and we will be prepared to welcome over 12,000 participants at Mills Pool and 33,000 participants at Bryan Park Pool. And at the TLRC, with improvements to the weight room, locker room, and new front counter and customer service friendly staff, we will work to increase total membership uses, visits, and participations to 67,000. And while 2020, again, another COVID cancellation, we had to cancel our national tournament, but in 2021, we plan to host one national tournament with an economic impact to the community over 500,000. And in youth sports, again, COVID-19 affected our ability to host tournaments, but we plan to host at least 3 rental tournaments at Winslow Complex to fill capacity. So looking at our 2021 category requests, in category 1 personnel, our request is $5,735,000, and this is a 2% increase. This increase comes for our full-time, both union and non-union employees. And then in our line 112, which is our temporary seasonal employees, Our seasonal wages are increased annually for the Consumer Price Index. So our 2021 hourly seasonal ranges will be $13.29 to $15.23 an hour. In category 2, we had a 6% decrease, and the slide outlines the area in which those increases came, pretty much across the board in several of our program areas in the area of fuel and oil, other repairs and maintenance, other supplies, and uniforms. And in category 3, we also have a 93,684 or a 4% decrease, and that decrease is coming from administration, in travel, printing, advertising, and water. So the Parks and Recreation 2021 General Fund budget request is $8,360,393, and that's a decrease of $164,361 or a 2% decrease. This request reflects the funding that aligns with the stated goals below. So I thank you for your consideration of the Parks 2021 General Fund budget, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Paula, for going through that. And for people at home, we have much more detailed specifics here on all of those things. So any questions for Paula from other board members?
Yeah, Kathleen, I have a question. So first, thank you, Paula, for the presentation. So nice to see many projects and also the images and I think bronze for the places, for the venues. That was very impressive. So I have a question regarding the events or the projects in the different places. I could see that there will be, or the idea is to have concerts and also cultural projects at Switchyard Park. And I wonder if the consideration of bilingual concerts or projects is also a thing to offer to the community.
Absolutely, and wonderful idea and suggestion. And our staff are working with community groups and organizations and work very closely with Community and Family Resources Department and their Latino coordinator there. So yes, very much networking and getting the word out for opportunities for all groups to perform and be part of events throughout our whole park system.
If I could ask, is there any work or alliance or collaboration with any language department in this moment?
Not that I'm aware of. I can certainly talk to our staff and inquire and let you know. And if we are who we are working with, and if we're not, if you have suggestions for us, that would be wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And I have a question regarding the programs that have been canceled or closed. So for fall, and I believe it's 40% of the programs, Paula. So for fall, you think that there is possibility to open some, or all the programs would remain closed? What's the projection for fall mainly, because we don't know well the plan or the roadmap for spring?
Great question, and that's where I give a nod and hats off to our staff, because the name of the game has been to be flexible through this, and it was difficult to look into the fall season and figure out what we were going to be able to do. So our fall program guide is at the printer. There have been some events that have been pulled because of COVID, but it looks pretty full. But our communication to the public is to stay in contact with us and check our website, because while we plan these events and we wanted to go ahead and plan them, we stand by and flexible for having to either cancel completely or reduce the number of participants that we can have, or put whatever protocols are necessary into place. But you will see that in our program guide and information on how to get the latest information on the status of our programs. But we didn't pull back 100%. Frank Southern Center information is in there. A lot of our traditional fall events are in there, and staff have become very, very adept in counting numbers and making sure we don't exceed the 150 people gathering in an outdoor space, or providing the physical distancing circles to keep people separate. So after 5 months of this, I'm confident, I have total confidence in our staff to bend and flex and respond accordingly as the latest health information comes forward.
Kathleen, I have two more questions, but I don't know, Ellen, or you have other questions, so I can hold my questions after you.
No, that's fine. Go right ahead.
Okay, so the other question is regarding the scholarships for some of the programs. So if some of the scholarships allocated for some of the programs are not given this semester, so is that possible to offer more in spring and in fall next year?
Yes, our Parks Foundation run the scholarship program, and that has been the topic of their conversation this year, because they are not giving out as many program scholarships this year because our programs are down. So there is an increased awareness and marketing of the scholarship program, and they're looking at that. You will see in our fall program guide when it comes out, the inside cover, we have half a page dedicated to announcing the availability of these scholarship funds. In the Kids City Recess program that's running right now, there was space given as well in those marketing materials, advertising that these scholarship funds are available. So our Park Foundation would line right up with your comments with making these scholarship funds available, and they have plenty of funds to award, way more than $12,000 worth of scholarships. The funding is there. We just really need people to be aware and to access that program.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's great to hear. And my last question would be with the promotion, distribution, dissemination of the information. So, well, we have the Facebook page, right? And there is a goal to increase the membership or the participants. How about the other outlets targeting other ages? Because we know I am a Facebook, participant, but it seems that the new people, like the new generation, young people, ask what is Facebook? I don't know. We don't use Facebook. So the other outlets, how are going to be, worked?
Well, we'll continue to print our program guide. That is our stable, and again, our survey results tell us that's where people find our program information. Now, I will tell you, we are printing less program guides this fall season because there are so many places, public places, where we would put those stacked program guides out and they would be picked up. Lobbies, the public library. So I can tell you we've taken that off our order. So really people will get a guide in the mail, but definitely Facebook. We actually get a lot also on Instagram, just quick updates and pictures. We have staff that are very versed, the social media team that uses that as an avenue. We continue with our press releases. The virtual programming has really helped a lot in communicating that. We still do our traditional kiosk poster printing, so people can walk by and see. Several program areas have newsletters, electronic newsletters that go out, and those go out through our rec track and our people who call and say, put me on that list. I want the information that way. So there's a variety of means. Our community relations runs that area, and they have an extensive marketing plan for every single program area. So, and that marketing plan involves all the print media or the social media and the different avenues. And that's part of their conversation when they put together that marketing plan. What is the target market, and how does that target market respond and look for information about our programs?
Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the Instagram team, because I believe that's the venue for the young people using, the social media. I believe they use more Instagram than maybe Facebook or Twitter, in my opinion. All right, so those were my questions, Kathleen.
Great, and I'll just take this opportunity on the marketing topic to give a shout out and a thank you to Julie Ramey, our community relations manager, because she makes this presentation what it is visually. So I'm putting in the words and leaving her notes, and we are both in and out of it. But I was really excited myself when I saw the drone footage of the Waldron Park, 3rd Street Park. So much so that she found us another drone footage of the prairie. So that's a secret. We were really excited about that. But thanks to Julie for making it so outstanding.
Yeah, I really like the one, the drone from for the Suchard Park. It was, a
pretty impressive.
Great capture.
Thank you.
All right. Before I go to Ellen's questions, I will say, Israel, as a Facebook user, I'm a little resentful. I think you're saying we're not young. Is that what you're saying? Facebook users are not young?
Well, when I talk about this with my students, they define each social media for a generation. Facebook, when we discuss informally, it's for my parents or for my grandpa, because we're using, I don't know, because it's very fast in the other one, and it's kind of interesting hearing from them. Yeah, no, we don't use Facebook. That's for other people, or older people.
Yes. Yeah, Instagram, Snapchat. Yeah. So Julie Ramey, I don't know if she's making TikTok videos yet. Is that on the horizon? So, okay. All right. Ellen, do you have any questions or comments about the budget?
Yeah, I guess I was a couple of things. One, I was just curious, is there a policy across the city that's been talked about as far as like raises go? I mean, I assume like raises are still happening even in a COVID world. Has that across the,
Human Resources presented that last night, and so it is on the table and will be voted on. I can answer as far as our seasonal raises, that we do increase them for the Consumer Price Index, and that's what you saw. So those get a little bump up every year, and that's something that we monitor and we propose and put into our budget. So we can impact that.
And then as far as just kind of thinking, so the master plan is going to cover 2021. Do you anticipate any changes in some of these goals for next year based on the results of the master plan? Like, will that impact anything?
I don't think significantly, and I have talked to our consultant about that very fact. I think what we're seeing, and of course we're in touch with departments across the country, is people are predicting that what we're feeling right now with revenue and just holding steady and providing basic services is going to continue in 2021 and probably in 2022. So sometimes, and traditionally, master plans come out and they can be like, oh, these really big lofty goals, and we're going to acquire green space, and we're going to improve this, and we're going to do that. I am pretty confident that it's going to be a hold steady and recover in 2021 and 2022. And the consultant is very locked into that conversation nationally. So I think that that's what we'll see, and it won't have any significant impact on this budget request. This is just really providing basic services.
Mhm. I think that's all for me right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I just wanted to kind of reiterate on a couple of things that Paula said. I was really impressed that 60 virtual programs had appeared during COVID times, because I think in the shock of canceling so many things, it's really easy to not be able to pivot to inventing new things. And also just, and I know Paula in the department always does this, but responding to what the community wants, I think is really important. People to understand it's not a bunch of parks administrators sitting around saying, let's do X, let's do Y. I mean, it's really based on the survey of what the community says they're interested in, and then the department puts those things first. And then I'm just always impressed at how the department is just really good stewards of the money. I mean, everything is scrutinized down to, you know, the postage and the gas for the, you know, parks vehicles and, you know, everything, salaries, all of it, marketing. So I think that's something to really appreciate. So thank you, Paula, for your detailed.
Thank you, and I'll pass that along to staff, because everyone really is involved in the zero-based budgeting and plays a role in putting this together. And this is what the result is our presentation.
Well, yeah, that's great. Thank you. So, all right. So do we have a motion to approve the 2021 Parks General Fund budget?
So if I could just echo and again say thank you. Yeah, just say thank you again. And yeah, I think that it probably is from all of us. And Les too, as far as just really being grateful for a great staff who are really diligent about putting this together. So thank you again. And yes, I will move. Am I moving to approve the budget?
Yes.
Yes, I will move to approve the budget.
And I second.
Okay. And any public comments or questions on the budget?
I would also like to highlight all this work has given, you know, the outcomes and with all the national recognition, regional recognition, and the benefits that the community Bloomington has had during, you know, several years is thanks to your leadership, and it's great to have a great department in our city. So yeah, so I don't know if I mentioned I second.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. All right. And all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion unanimously carried. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next up, we'll review the administrative policies in preparation for re-accreditation, which is Leslie Brenson.
Good afternoon, Leslie Brinson, Community Events Manager. I am also kind of the manager of our accreditation process. So as we head into the next 5-year accreditation, one of the things that we do regularly, not just when we come up to 5 years, but is just to review all of our policies and make sure they are as up to date as possible. This is the first round. I think I'll probably have more for you as we get into the year, but these 4 are here as a first round. You can see there are 4 policies we're updating. One about your park board meetings, just about getting information out. And you can see some of the information just as far as how we post them and when we post them was just a little outdated. Policy 1060 is just a list of all of our department facilities and parks. And there were some that were not on that because it was older, and some that have been updated with actual addresses and some different changing of names and different things. So we updated that to be as accurate as possible. Policy 3010 talked about the strategic action plan. In that old policy, it just told you where it was kept in a file in a room, which is no longer the case. Everything is now electronic. So we just removed that piece from that one. And policy 3020 is about the comprehensive plan. And now that we've had a couple, we just updated it with past consultants and plan dates. So nothing too crazy, but for policies that have been updated, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. And it looks like, we used to say the Parks Board meetings were 4 to 5:30. Are we sort of leaving it open since sometimes, especially on Zoom, we can go until we need to?
Yeah, I don't know if it had said that in the past on the Park Board meeting. This is that Kim actually updated this one for us, but yeah, I think because of sometimes they have to end earlier or run late, so it's easier just to leave a start time,
Right.
and then that does provide some flexibility.
Sure. Okay. All right. Any questions for Leslie about these changes?
Well, I guess I'll just say, it looks to me like the question that you had, Kathleen, is that it was corrected from saying 4 to 6 p.m. to saying 4 to 5:30.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if we need to remove the end time.
Oh, no, I see. You're right. You're right. I just read it in clear. Yeah. Okay.
But I have no other questions.
Okay. All right. So do we have a motion to approve administrative policies updates?
Yes, I move to approve the updates.
Can I second?
All right. And any public comment or question?
There is a comment from Facebook.
Okay.
The Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department is world class and always delivers such a great value for the community. And that's from Jeff McKim.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Jeff McKim. So, all right. On these administrative policies update then, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carried. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you.
Then Dave Williams has a service agreement with Bledsoe, Riggert, Cooper, and James for just some ongoing property surveying services as needed.
Good afternoon, Dave Williams, Operations Director. We're trying to consolidate the number of contracts that we bring to you each month and group together common services. So I think this will be the beginning of requests for approval of service contracts that we've talked to our controllers department about what the rules and regulations are. We're allowed to encumber in a service contract money that we have designated in our contractual services line within our division. So the request here is to continue a services contract for $8,000 for Bledsoe, Riegert, Cooper, and James to do basic boundary determinations, surveys. We often get into that when it comes to trees, who owns the tree that might be hazardous and needs to be removed. We will also be asking them to do some survey information at Switchard Park to delineate a sanitary sewer easement that City Utilities has requested. So those are examples of the types of things that we have always gone to Bledsoe, Riegert, Cooper, and James for. We find them to be extremely responsive to our survey needs and very cost effective. We've had a long-term relationship with them. That's why we would like to continue a contractual relationship and request approval of this service agreement. And I think, again, you will see more of these coming out from the operations division in the future to streamline our procurement process. With that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dave. I love the streamlining. That sounds excellent. So, all right, any questions from Israel or Ellen? No? All right.
No, No question. I saw that it has been almost 20 years working with them, Dave. So I think it's a reliable service.
Yes, they have been extremely reliable, and obviously, Israel, with survey work, you want them to be accurate as well, and we've not had any difficulties with them. Their work is always correct, and we use it for a lot of our legal descriptions for properties, and we feel they're a top-notch company.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion for approval of this service agreement?
I move to approve this service agreement.
I'll second it.
All right. And do we have any public comments or questions?
Nothing in my email.
Okay.
There are no raised hands.
Okay.
Nothing from Facebook.
All right. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carried. And then Dave will also tell us about a contract addendum with Rundell Ernstberger Associates, for some construction inspection services at Switchyard.
Thank you, Kathleen. This contract, I wish could be open-ended in a service contract, but that's not the source of our funding for Switchyard Park. You may recall back in April, I requested approval from the board as well as the Redevelopment Commission to add additional dollars for construction, inspection, and administration at Switchyard Park. The addendum number 4 from April was for $231,000 and some change, and it expired in July. We are continuing to wrap up work at Switchyard Park, and the request before the board is for $94,100 for additional oversight by Rundell Ernstberger, who is the key component of our project management team at Switchyard Park. This will not be funding used for everyday 40-hour-a-week construction inspection. We have reached what is referred to as substantial completion on all areas of the property, which is not only building construction, but it's also site work, landscaping, the playground, the parking lots, etc. The heavy lifting is done, but there is a substantial, what we refer to as a punch list for the contractor to attend to, things that were not done correctly or the quality is deficient and it has to be corrected or replaced. Dings, davits, scrapes, things that all are listed in infinite detail to the contractor, saying before you can achieve final completion, you must address these deficiencies. We think that will take through the month of August and September. To Rundell Ernstberger's credit, we diligently managed their last addendum, number 4, and left the month of July. Even though their contract expired in July, we went all the way through the month of July with their services still intact, and did so with about a $6,000 free balance remaining. So we will continue to diligently manage their services, the number of hours that they're at the park. But this is the critical stage to make sure that we are, as the owner, completely satisfied with the work by our general contractor, and we plan on continuing to monitor their work until hopefully we can have this project absolutely completely done to our satisfaction by the end of September. And it also includes, I might mention too, I think the board is aware that we have an environmental restrictive covenant through the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. Short story, this is a high bar of compliance that we did not have to do, but we did on the Beeline Trail. We wanted to keep that standard for environmental remediation and cleanup for public properties intact. And we agreed to another environmental covenant at Switchyard Park. And the dollars that are indicated in the board report that are allocated to Bruce Carter Associates, BCA, which is a sub-consultant of Rundell Ernstberger, are to absolutely make sure that all the compliance steps, particularly the inches of cover soil, the type of soil that's brought in as remediation cover to Switchard Park, that in itself, it does not have contamination. So a lot of testing, a lot of oversight, a lot of, quite frankly, measuring to make sure the very specific requirements that IDEM has placed upon us for our environmental covenant, that we abide by those restrictions. And that when IDEM eventually comes down to the property later this year to confirm that we did the project as we were directed to do and that we're in full compliance, we'll have an intact environmental covenant. And I think, again, it's a high bar that Bloomington has set. Certainly the department has set for remediation of its facilities before it becomes either the Beeline Trail or Switchard Park. So that those fees are also included for their staff to have some oversight on the project. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Ellen or Israel, any questions for Dave?
Yeah, I have two questions, Dave. So that would be for the remaining days of August, right? After the approval.
All of August, and the contractors indicated that they would like to be done by the end of August. I think they may stray beyond that date, but this would cover us through the end of September. Once the punch list items are addressed, there's also what's referred to as closeout documents. So operations manuals at what they call as-built drawings. It may have been designed this way, but their correction was made in the field, so that correction needs to be noted on.
So one you know, like end date would be September, by the end of September.
We're very confident they will be done with everything by the end of September.
And the other things, the other thing would be the mentioning of numerous punch list items. I don't know if we might know some of those items.
Well, there are numerous, Israel, and it's divided up into landscaping, facilities. I'll give you an example. We felt that the interior painting job of the restroom facility that is next to the splash pad was unacceptable, that it needed to be repainted. So on the punch list, it's indicated you will need to repaint these walls in order for us to accept them. Concrete curb work throughout the project in some areas has been less than specified quality, and we would call them out. It could also be plants that were planted last fall or this spring that did not survive and need to be replaced. It could be a light pole that while it was lifted and put into place may have been scratched and scarred up and needs to be repainted. There's just literally hundreds of items from the very small but a good indicator of quality to those things that are not operating correctly. You may be aware, again, by Facebook or visits to the park, that we had some mechanical issues with the splash pad, false alarms that would literally shut the system down to where we had to close it. As you might imagine, that resulted in a large list of punch list items that the contractor had to attend to before we could reopen and do so without failure mechanically and keep the public be allowed to use the facility. So it depends on where you are in the park. It could be a section of pavement that was not smooth, asphalt pavement, or concrete that someone stepped in while it was still wet, and we have a big footprint in it. Well, that's not what we paid for, was vandalized concrete. We paid for smooth, professionally finished concrete. So those are just some examples.
So remind me, I don't know if it was just once or twice when the splash pad was closed. So is there more work on the splash?
There is. It's a very, very complex system, one that, quite frankly, we can even manipulate by means of an iPhone. And that certainly is something that in my career, I never thought we had that ability. We are getting very close. It is clearly a system that is complicated. We have an exceptional facilities foreman in Don Fodrell who is starting to figure it out, but it's like anything else. It's new, it's challenging to operate. But in addition to the punch list attention, we also have a year warranty. So before the city takes full ownership of anything, we have worked out the bugs, we've worked out the scratched paint and the dents and the dings, and then we still have a year warranty coverage that is placed on the contractor and their subcontractors to make sure trees live through the 1 year warranty period. The pumps and motors and electronics of the splash pad are still in operating order after 1 year. If they're not, they're replaced. So I think we've covered as much as we can for the standards of the industry. Attend to your punch list, then we'll tell you if it's acceptable, and then we'll start the 1 year clock that will give us additional warranty coverage.
Thank you, Dave.
Welcome.
Okay. All right. Any questions from you, Ellen?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Kathleen, I'm sorry to interrupt. I might mention too that because this is not funded by the department, it is funded through a TIF bond. The Redevelopment Commission had to approve it, and they did so at their Monday night meeting.
Okay. Yes, that's good to know. And I know we all appreciate you wanting to get Switchyard Park to be as perfect as it can be. I mean, you don't take on 58-acre park and then just let there be 100 things that are not quite up to standard. So I know we all appreciate that. And I can't believe you can operate the splash pad from a smartphone. That's.
I didn't say that I could.
Oh, okay.
It's all I can do to get through a Zoom meeting successfully, but my very capable staff can.
Okay. All right, great. Well, thank you for those details. And do we have a motion to approve the contract addendum with Rundell Ernstberger Associates?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the contract.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Any public comments or questions?
None in my email.
There are no comments on Facebook Live.
No raised hands at this time.
Okay, great. Thank you. So all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carried. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And-
Dave.
Next up, we will hear from Megan Stark about a contract with Currentizing Indiana. I hope I'm saying that right. Currentizing Indiana Media for the TLRC.
Yes, so Megan Stark, membership coordinator at the Twin Lakes Recreation Center. It is actually Currentizing at Indoor Media. They just recently switched their name. We've been in contract with them. We do it a year at a time. So this would be a request for approval of a renewal. But we've been in contract with them since 2018. And basically we put together a rough draft of the marketing that we want to be seen. Then their graphic design team puts together a formal version of that. And then they put our advertising on shopping carts at our selected location, which we chose the Kroger North location. We do kind of annual demographics for our facility of people that visit, our members, things like that, that come into our facility. And we saw that most of our people come from the north side of town. We think that is due to an easy 7-minute drive is how I get to work down 69. I live on the north side of town as well. And if you take that route to get to our facility, you don't pass a high volume of other fitness facilities. So it's not like going through town where it's every other building, I think, is a facility for fitness or wellness anymore. So it works well for us. That side of town comes over to our facility. So we really wanted the advertising to be in their eyes. And so then we hopefully get kind of put in the back of their mind so that when it comes time for them to think about a gym, and they start looking around for a gym, that maybe our name stands out and we seem like a comfortable choice for them. So.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I appreciate the background there. And those cart ads are so funny. You don't even know that you're looking at them. And I know we had to have some gutter repair like a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, I think I saw a name as I scrolled through the names on Google, and I think it was on the cart. So yeah, so that sounds pretty solid. Do we have any questions or comments for Megan?
I think there's just a slight typo in the cover. I think the total cost is $5,000. Okay.
Yes, it's $5,199, which includes our invoicing fee and then also our artwork fee to get started up. And then we can change that at the 6-month mark at no charge. If we want to change it more than that, then that's an additional fee, but we usually do not do that. We haven't in the past.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you, Megan. So since 2018, it has been Kroger North, the place, because the survey, and I just wonder if is there any plan to change the location, or it's just the best one based on that survey because of the membership you're saying?
Yeah, so we actually relook at that each year and continue to look at the demographics, even down to visits in the facility. We ask for a zip code whenever they sign in, so that way we can see like how far are people willing to drive for us, things like that. And it really just proves that location for us is one of our biggest items that we pay attention to, because people either don't have the time or they don't want to drive across town, or there's just a more convenient location closer to them. So this year, another large one was on the South Side Kroger. And then they also had a store over on by College Mall. And we decided not to go with them just because when we looked at the routes to get to us, they passed 20 or more fitness facilities that offer a lot of the similar things, or are really close to the Y, which is another brick and mortar gym. And so we just felt like we wanted to stay over on the north side where there wasn't an option for those people.
Right. And just remind me, I'm trying to see, but I'm kind of blind. Is 30% or 50% of the cards at Kroger?
It's 50%.
50%.
They have 3 different types of carts. So they have your standard cart, then they have the really ones if you're just picking up a small amount of things. And then they also have the motorized, and we're on 50% of each of those.
Okay, and also regarding Ellen's question, I don't know if we need, because the amount is different, right, Ellen and Megan? Yes. I don't know if we need to make an amend, Kathleen, because I see 1,599 and it's 5,000, correct?
It's correct on the contract.
Yeah, if you go to the next page, it's correct on that.
Let me see.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But
yeah.
anyway, if it's even on the contract, because that's the contract and that's the item, I don't know if is that needed to make that official amendment, because the amount is different. I'm not sure, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think if we specify in our vote that it's correct on the contract, and then I'm the one who signs off on the contracts along with Paula, and I think as long as we specify in our vote that that's the correct amount in there, I think we should be okay. So, all right, so do we have a motion to approve the contract with Currentizing Indiana Media?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the contract for $5,199.
And I second
All right,
the
and any,
contract with the $5,999.
and any public comments or questions?
There are no comments from Facebook Live.
No comments in my email.
And no raised hands.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, motion carried. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, guys.
And next up, Scott Peterson will tell us about a contract with Dynasty Painting for some rails at Twin Lakes Sports Park.
Yes, thank you so much. Scott Peterson, Youth Sports Coordinator for the City of Bloomington. I am seeking approval for a contract with Dynasty Painting. The stairs and the railings at the Twin Lakes Sports Park over the years get real flaky and can chip off, and we're at the point where we need to repaint it. So I was able to get 5 quotes. Kind of on the spectrum here. There's a lot of different quotes. I have one for over $18,000. One for right around $5,000, one for about $7,350, one for $4,500, and the other for $3,300. So there was quite a different quotes in those. We recommend Dynasty Painting. Although there were lower price quotes, this vendor expressed a desire, the lowest one expressed a desire to submit a change order had he gotten on the job and found out he underquoted it. So we didn't feel comfortable with the knowledge he brought to it, and we're seeking the contract with Dynasty Painting at $4,500.
Okay. And I appreciate that you were able to get 5 quotes on this. As you say, it's not a type of painting that everyone can do, and that's a huge range of expenses. Yeah.
It is. It varies, because if you want to do the project completely right, that includes sandblasting it.
Oh, right.
Stripping it all the way down to the metal, or are we just gonna like use a wire brush and kind of scrape off the flakes and then go that route, which is the route we are going to take.
Okay.
The second one.
Okay. All right. If we have any questions from Ellen or Israel?
How often do you have to end up doing it?
We do it every probably 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
And Scott, thank you for this. Is the company located in Bloomington, right?
Yes, or I know their business. He's from Owen County. I know the owner is. Whether their business resides in Monroe County, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, they do a lot of work in Bloomington, the city.
It looks like it is on the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So.
What? Sorry, Kathleen. So
No, you're fine.
You're saying, Ellen, that it's not in the contract the address location?
It says Bloomington on the contract as the location for the contractor.
Okay. So yeah. So he is here in Bloomington, Stephen Hobbs. So. Okay. Any other comments or questions about this painting work? Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the contract with Dynasty Painting.
Okay.
I second.
All right. Any public comment or questions?
There are no comments from Facebook Live.
None in my email.
And no raised hands.
Okay. Thank you for that. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Motion carried. Thank you, Scott.
Hey, thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And next up, it's the season for tennis court repairs. So we'll go to John Turnbull to tell us about a contract with Tennis Technology for repairs at Sherwood Oaks.
Good afternoon, John Turnbull, Division Director of Sports. If this company sounds familiar, the reason is you approved a big contract for Bryant Park tennis courts last month. And this one's all about trip charge or all about being in the vicinity or proximity to do it. So we had some paving problems at Sherwood Oaks tennis courts where it's holding water. And I asked them to give us a price, and they said, well, since we're there already, we would be glad to do this rather small contract, but I still have to bring it to you. It's $1,800, $1,800, and it's still out of the bond funds, but it should extend the life of Sherwood Oaks, which we had done a year ago, and just saw some problems with the underlying paving that we wanted to make a small correction. So we recommend this from Tennis Technologies. They do fine work. We've done a history of projects with them. So I seek your approval for that.
Okay. And the water that was gathering, was the Sherwood Oaks one done by a different company to begin with, or?
It was, the paving company was Lentz. Yeah, it's really hard to point a finger or whatever. It's just an old park where it's in a floodplain, so it's not the best location for tennis courts, but as a parks department, we take what we can get. And it's going to be fine. And I think making these small corrections it's just an enhancement. We could go with it the way it is, but this is really a smarter way to do it.
Okay, and as you say, cost savings because they're already in town doing the other courts, so. Okay, any questions for John Turnbull about this?
Are they doing it this month? Will it shut the court down?
No, it's probably going to be, let's see, they're going to be in town in middle of September.
September.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was gonna take over more tennis court, like close more courts when the Bryant Park ones are gonna be closed.
Yeah, but this is only like a 2-day repair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion to approve the contract addendum with Tennis Technology?
I'll move to approve the contract with Tennis Technology.
And second.
All right, any public comment or questions?
None in my email.
There are none from Facebook Live.
And no raised hands.
Okay. All right, so all those,
Oh, I guess we haven't voted.
that's okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. All right, thank you, John.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yep. And then next up, Aaron Hatch will tell us about the partnership agreement with Bloomington Community Orchard.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Just can't see me. There we go. Hi, so I am asking for approval of the agreement with the Bloomington Community Orchard. This is to continue an ongoing partnership we've had with the Community Orchard. They operate off of our Winslow Wood property, and so this would allow continued usage of that property and allow them to continue providing educational programming when it comes to orchard activities, fruit trees, and this is something that, you know, can allow for more education on how to cultivate fruits for people here in Bloomington. This has been operating for a while, so just kind of keeping that ball rolling.
Okay, Yeah, and I don't think I've been in the orchard, but I'm driving by there all the time going over to the Y, and it seems people very active over there near the gardens, the rental plots. So yeah, good partnership. Any questions or comments for Aaron?
Yeah, thank you for the information. Just how it will work in fall with the situation that we are in.
So basically, this would allow the community orchard, which is a separate nonprofit, to continue to use the property and use the land that they've been operating on, and continue to just offer educational classes that they put on through their role as a nonprofit. And these are actually advertised or have been advertised in our program guides, and to kind of help support them and have this cooperative programming continue.
And do we review this every 2 years, Aaron?
I believe this one is until 2022, or is it 2023? I think that we've been operating
22, it looks like.
22, yes.
And Erin, could we know how many people are involved in the educational programs that you offer?
That is a term in the contract to provide feedback on how many people are attending these programs, but I do not have those numbers currently.
So that's something that we might have down the road then? Okay. Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments for Aaron, or are we ready for a motion?
When would be the first day, the starting date?
I believe that it would start as soon as we approve the contract, but let me double check.
Yeah, it looks like it says from the day of the contract above, but the date's not filled in yet.
So the date of the approval.
So it means tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the partnership agreement with Bloomington Community Orchard?
Yep, we'll move to approve that partnership.
Okay,
9 seconds.
any public comment or question?
There are no comments from Facebook Live.
None in my email.
And no raised hands.
Okay, all right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. All right, and Aaron will still stay with us a bit to tell us about contract with Bluestone Tree for some emergency tree removal.
So this is to kind of fall in line with what Dave was mentioning earlier, to set up more of a service contract rather than contracts that are tied towards specific projects. And this would allow us to call Bluestone in for removal and other tree care needs as needed. Bluestone has been selected just because they have a lot of high-tech equipment that are allowed for them to access trees in difficult spots and conduct difficult removals. This would be for $20,000 and would continue until we deplete those funds. And we've used them for these similar services in the past.
Okay, yes, and as I recall, yeah, so sometimes there are tree removals that are just beyond the equipment that the department has on hand, very expensive equipment, so yeah. Okay, any comments or questions from Ellen or Israel?
I don't have any. I mean, I know we've used them before and had to in emergencies, and so that sounds good to me.
No
Okay,
comment, definitely no question.
Okay, yes, do we have a motion to approve?
Yeah, I will move to approve.
And I second.
All right, and any public comments or questions?
None in my email.
None from Facebook Live.
No raised hands.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Thank you, Erin.
Thanks, Erin.
Thank you.
And then the Griffey Lake Nature Days and the Summer Star Foundation that has been very generous with us in the past. Rebecca is going to tell us about that.
Yeah, so Rebecca Jania, Natural Resources Coordinator for the city. I'm very pleased to still bring forth before you a agreement with the Summer Star Foundation. This is going on the 13th year, us working with Summer Star to create the Nature Day, Griffey Lake Nature Day program. This year is definitely going to be different. In the last 13 years, we bring every fourth grade student who's enrolled at MCCSE schools for an experiential outdoor day of learning. We still want the kids to get outside, so we are willing to be flexible, and so is our grant foundation to whether MCC resumes in-person classes, we are willing to bring Nature Day experiences to the schools. We are also prepared to create a virtual experience with videos from our station facilitators and take-home activities that still encourage and require the student to step outside and explore their local environments. So again, Summer Star Foundation is willing to support Griffey Lake Nature Day in any form it takes, which we're really, really grateful to have their flexibility. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Okay, any questions from Ellen and Israel?
I just hope it's kids in person, outdoors in some form.
Yes, a great program.
Okay. Yes, I think we could agree. It would be nice for them to really be out there and not watching videos about Griffey Lake. So.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, okay. Do we have a motion to approve this partnership agreement?
Motion to approve.
I second.
All right. Any public comments or questions?
There are no comments from Facebook Live.
No comments in my email.
I don't think no raised hands, I don't think. So, okay.
No, there's not any raised hands.
Okay. This is just like first period of high school online. There's nobody out there awake. All right. So all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Motion carried. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you so much,
Thank
everybody. Have a
you.
great day.
And then into our reports section, Julie Ramey will tell us about the 2019 annual report draft.
Good afternoon. I'm Julie Ramey. I'm the Community Relations Manager. Typically, I would have in March brought to the Board of Park Commissioners the draft of our 2019 annual report. It's a common refrain that you will hear COVID. So we have completed the draft of the 2019 annual report, and it will be made available to all of you as well as to the Paula and the division directors via email and via the cloud. So there's a PDF file uploaded to the cloud. You will get a link to that document and you can review the 2019 annual report before it's finalized. So this is more an announcement that you'll be receiving the draft of the annual report. And if you would take the time before the park board meeting in September, I'll bring the final copy to you then for your final approval. For your edification, the annual report includes unaudited financial data and highlights from each of the program areas. It's our document of record, sort of snapshot of all of our activities and accomplishments in the year 2019. I know you haven't seen it yet, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about the annual report.
Okay, we look forward to seeing that before our next meeting. Any questions from Ellen or Israel?
No question from this side.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, as Julie said, that was definitely something we, come back every January and staff finalize all their numbers and we start writing, and that's where we were. And then COVID hit and it sort of got picked up and put over here. So we'll get it to you before the end of the year for sure.
Okay.
September.
No problem. Totally understandable. All right. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you very much.
And finally, Paula will give us an update on the pilot project out at Lower Cascades to close the road running through there and kind of open it up to bikes and walkers and.
Right. And, oh, great. Tim is right on it. We're going to put up this map so you can see have a reference point for my report. And as you recall, back, in February, we brought this to you, and actually it's for information only, as the Board of Public Works is actually the approving authority to close roads, but a very unique team approach to this pilot project, which involves representatives not only from the Parks Department, but also Planning and Transportation, the Bike and Ped staff members are also on the team. And then Dave DeKidd, our innovations director, is also on this team. And my report tonight is just to give you an update on the pilot project and where we are to date and what our plans are for the future. And I will tell you that I gave the same report to the Board of Public Works back in August 4th, so they have been updated as well. But as you recall, just a reminder, this is a Bicentennial Bond funded project. We also have general obligation bond dollars down in Lower Cascades, and that is a separate project. The bond, general obligation bond project is to provide an accessible path back to the waterfall, but also do some extensive creek erosion repair work. And so at the same time, we have the opportunity to also do some trail improvements and just look at ways people are accessing this particular park. And so the funding is there. So we wanted to take the time to try this pilot project and actually shut down a section, 0.06 mile section of the Lower Cascades, 037, that runs through the park. This is our oldest park. And back in the day, this was the only way into town. And so now we know clearly there's other avenues into Bloomington. It's a beautiful setting. And so we like to try things on and often do pilot projects to see how they go. So we kicked this pilot project off on Friday, March 13th. Who would have figured it was the exact same time that COVID was hitting and Bloomington was shutting down. So it's just a very interesting narrative, I believe, with this pilot, in that all of a sudden, the numbers of people in our community declined as IU emptied out and are just now returning. But also schools shut down. So that access through the park that people used to get to school, they were no longer having to do that. But we had it all approved. And so we're going to kick off this pilot project, and that's what we've done. There are lots of opportunities for people to give us input. And one of the interesting sort of COVID stories to this pilot project is we have seen, as I have reported, so many people accessing our trails and parks during COVID. Like overnight, people were looking for those outdoor spaces to go and making sure they could be distanced. And this proved to be a new place for people to discover that actually lined up with COVID. So we have barricades at the north end, as this map indicates, and at the south end. We have signage on the barricades and on both shelter houses explaining the project, along with the QR code that people who are in the park or have just walked this pilot piece of the road can use the QR code and immediately go online and give us feedback as to their experience using this pilot project road conversion. To date, and I guess it was really March through the 28th of July, we had 283 people respond to our survey. We will do another survey poll and post that on our website. We've been doing that on a monthly basis and tracking people's responses to the survey. And I'll have Kim put up some survey slides. It's just, again, a snapshot. We really are wanting people to go and experience this section and then give us their feedback. So one of the questions in the survey is their likelihood of returning to this pilot during the period. And you can see here, starting with the bright orange, people saying they would not return. So they visited and didn't like it and don't plan to come back. And then we collected probably not returning respondents. The gray line indicates they might return. And then the yellow gold line indicating probably returning. And you can see the ebbs and flows in that. And then the blue line indicating the probability of people returning and using the space. The next slide has to do with safety. Again, I'm using the space a little bit differently. So getting feedback here. Again, the bright orange saw a little bit of a spike about feeling very unsafe. Again, somewhat unsafe runs along less than about 5% there. And then moving to the gray line, started up a little bit high and then evened out to about 15% neutral. And then the yellow line, somewhat safe. And then the blue line, again, indicating going as far up as a little above 60%. One thing I will mention, there is an opportunity in this survey to give us feedback, and a lot of people have been commenting, which we have found very, very useful, and we act on that comment. So it's not like we're taking these comments and we're just going to wait until the end of the 6 months and then make the changes. So we have been reviewing these comments all along and making adjustments and really listening to the comments that we've had on safety and access and clearing up some confusion about where parking is in that. And then the next slide, please. The sentiment about the continuation of the road closure. And the bright do not want started out very high, and that, as you can see, was before the pilot because the survey was up. And then responses that do not want, and I'll address that feedback in just a minute. And then again, the mostly do not want and the neutral and mostly do want along, about the 15% or lower. And then do want, again, before the pilot, we had about, I believe 9 people fill out the survey before the pilot actually started. And then when it started, it shot up to above the 50% and then has kind of stayed up that high. The next slide. Oh, there we go. I was gonna say, I thought we had a feedback slide. So this slide is really helpful and interesting, and one that we are acting on. And again, when I presented this to the Board of Public Works, we did have public comment. And then I've also been attending District 2 constituent meetings on a monthly basis just to stay in touch and to hear citizen feedback and that. So there is accessibility concerns on this comment, concerns for seniors and ability of parents to access the cars while the kids are on the playground. We've tried to clear up that in, again, Facebook postings or on our website. Lower Cascades page is where we have all the information in the latest survey data and that, but clearing up that and that the access, the parking lots are open. The parking lot next to Sycamore Shelter is open, and both parking lots on either side of the playground are open. And just as recently as last week, emailing with Julie, who's helping us with the messaging, is there's still a little bit of confusion because the way you have to place barricades, there is a barricade right at the 3-way stop at Clubhouse Drive and Old 37. and it says detour, and I think people think that they can't go past it, but you really can to get to the playground. So we're going to work on some messaging there and some signage there. But long story short, the parking lots are open. And the only parking lot that is not accessible is a gravel parking lot that people would drive across the creek water slide that for years, for generations, that's been a water slide user car connection. It's happening at the same time. So during this pilot, we've actually removed obviously access to that small gravel parking lot. So there's only kids and families using that water slide and no car interaction. Improvement suggestions, repaving. So again, we hear that keeping the pavement free from debris. We've talked to Public Works about getting the street sweepers down there, and that clearly we're not going to pave or do any major improvements while it's under pilot, but I do believe we can get down there and clean that up. And then negative safety concerns of no motorists on patrol. You know, that's one of the #1 ways to keep a park safe is to have people in it and using it and accessing it. And some people giving us feedback, well, now that cars aren't driving all the way through, there's less eyes on the park. And then no neutral responses, positive, multiple mentions of feeling safer with no vehicles. We've heard numerous stories of people teaching their kids how to ride their bikes on this closed section. Obviously during COVID, it's just offered another avenue. And I thought that the comment of the return to wildlife was very interesting down in that park. I myself am down there often and can remember the spring blooming and budding out there and seeing that. So, and again, a few comments with the repaving of the road and keeping it free from debris and that. So what we would like just to update you again is the pilot continues, and some of the feedback that we have actually received throughout the pilot from various residents that live in the area is that this was perhaps not the best time to run a pilot because it started during COVID. Our population numbers were down, school wasn't in session, and how accurate can the data be and we have listened and taken that to heart. We have also received feedback on the questions, and again, our questions in the survey was written to really drive people to use this pilot as either on their bike or walking or running, and then give us feedback. And the feedback that we were getting is that there weren't questions that were directed for people that use it to drive through, to get from point A from point B, or that use that road as a shortcut during game days, or when there's a lot of traffic and it's a shortcut to get someplace else. So we've heard that, and so what I have updated the Board of Public Works and sharing with you is that we plan to go back to the Board of Public Works in early September, and recognizing that it was perhaps an odd time to run a pilot project, that we are going to propose and ask for their approval to extend the pilot project to June of 2021. Continue with this survey that we have in place and continue to post on a monthly basis the survey results, but also at that time to introduce a second survey that will be written to get information from people who use it to drive through the park, that are people in automobiles that drive it, and what their reaction is to it. So again, wanting to be 100% transparent in this process, want to hear from our community and be reactive. And again, it's been just such an odd year. We certainly would like to keep the pilot in place and continue it. And feel that if we stopped it and opened it and then started another pilot next year, it could get really confusing for people. And again, just giving the opportunity for everyone to give us input. So again, this is just to give you an update on that project, and perhaps you've heard people talking about it and that, but wanted to let you know where we are and what our plans are in September with the Board of Public Works.
Okay, thank you, Paula. Just a couple things on curious about, I haven't been over there, but the baseball diamonds that are there, is that something now that people need to park farther away to get to the baseball?
No,
Or
great question. I don't know, Kim, if you could put the map back up, that's actually open. So you can
Okay.
access the park. You see my cursor? Or maybe you can't see my. But it's not on that, but the north, that is the north entrance to the park. So you can still get to the ball fields and drive all the way down to the three-way stop, which is Country Club. And then that road is open to take you up to Country Clubhouse. I'm sorry, Clubhouse Drive takes you up to the golf course. But you can access the ball fields and all three parking lots. That's the north entrance. And then the south barricade, planning helped us with some temporary parking that they've got signage down there, and there's temporary parallel parking, so you can access it from the south as well. And there is a barricade with a locked gate, and medical and BPD have keys to that gate, so if there is a medical emergency, they can have access.
Okay. And I was also just curious about the sort of juxtaposition of feeling safer with no cars, but then some other safety concerns, that people mentioned some drugs and a homeless camp and things like that. And I know it can be a somewhat remote area. Sometimes if you're out there dog walking around the playground, it can be. So I don't know if this is something to keep open. I don't know if there's a thought of having some sort of a resource officer patrol over there, or like you've had in some other areas of the city.
Well, it's definitely on our radar, and those are comments that we get from our other park locations from time to time. We do have a stationary operations crew member down there, and what that means is that is his assigned location, and he does an incredible job down there. So we do have a presence down there about March through November, eyes on the park. And again, it's the improvements, the project that I mentioned with the accessible trail and the creek improvements will actually be encouraging more interaction with the creek and actually getting to the creek. So I know with that project, we are going to be creating even more, a great experience down there for people that will perhaps bring more people. So if you build it and maintain it and fill it with people, you can address a lot of security issues.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Thank you for the update. Any, Israel or Ellen, any questions or comments?
Kim, can you check and see if there are any public comment, people in the meeting?
The only thing I had heard personally was just the signage, right? Of just, it's saying detour road closed, and people thinking that they couldn't, like cyclists not knowing they could get through. So, but sounds like you're working on that.
And it was a little bit of a challenge getting our barricades in the right position. Out of the gate, we thought we had it right, and then we came down and people were able to physically move some barricades. So now we have big limestone cement blocks. Mark Marowitz, our operations superintendent, has done a really good job keeping an eye on that and moving things around. And as I said, the latest was this swinging arm gate so that BPD could get down in there. So we're definitely watching it and responding as we see or we get feedback. Like, I don't understand, that sign was confusing, and we just got one last week, and I get it. Okay, let's figure this out and make it so it works for you.
There are no raised hands and no comments under chat.
Okay, thank you, Kim.
And nothing in my email.
All right. Okay, well, thank you for the update, and I think that wraps things up. Paula, do you have anything else to tell us today?
I have a Post-it note. There's a couple of things that started to add up today, and I thought I need a Post-it note. So Kim is going to be reaching out to you to schedule a special park board meeting. From time to time, we ask for a little bit extra of your time if we have some items that come up that can't wait. And in this case, can't wait until the end of September. So she'll be reaching out, and we're hoping to get about a half an hour of your time somewhere on the August 31st, 1st or 2nd. And just to give you a little preview, City Council last week passed a Recovered Forward package, which is wonderful. And what Parks benefited in there is a $50,000 to put towards our Centerstone partnership agreement. And we've already met with Centerstone and staff, and I'm drafting the addendum to their contract so that we can add more crews in September, October, and November. So we want to get going on that. And then Jess Klein, our health and wellness coordinator, is putting together a partnership agreement to do some public health outreach in some of our parks where we're having, we have some concerns. And so again, that involves partners. We want to get this off the road in early September. So we want to bring that partnership agreement to you then. And then the master plan, we sent your invites for your stakeholder meeting. So please RSVP to Kim if you can make it. If not, we'll find a time that our consultant can get together with you. And then that makes, aside from my budget hearing tomorrow night, our next park board meeting will be September 22nd. So a ways away, but again, I will send you the link to the Zoom budget hearing tomorrow when I get it, and you're more than welcome to attend.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone else over there behind the scenes helping us with the chat and the hands and the email and Facebook Live. And so, all right. So we are adjourned for August, and we'll see everyone back in late September. Thank you.